the candles, the music, the sexy dress. What's going on here? I'll tell you what's going on here. It's Miami Minutes, the podcast where we talk about every minute of Miami Connection, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan, and I know that's from another film. But what the hell? Like, we're at the end of this one now. We've talked Miami Connection literally to death over here.
Yeah. We are basically about to collapse and die. We're so close to the end, though. We've got to make it. I am your other host, John Parker, here co-hosting the show that has brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to our new Miami Empire.
Our new empire? John, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy.
Your allegiance is to Miami. What the hell was the uni called?
The University of Miami.
Was that? I couldn't remember that if it was Miami University or University of Miami or. God damn it! It's so long ago.
Oh, I'm assuming they must have things like, because there always has to be little wars between everything over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was it was the University of Central Florida, I believe, actually.
No, see?
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a Central Florida university and they hate each other. Let's remember over here in Liverpool, 3 universities, and those, if you went to Liverpool Hope and then you bumped into someone from John Moore's, you just look down your nose at them because they were the bottom of the barrel.
There's brawls in the streets. Okay, I might be lying about that.
Yeah, and then you saw like the snooty University of Liverpool assholes swaggering around thinking they were so big.
The thing that annoys me about them genuinely, right, is they are so proud that they go to the University of Liverpool. Because listeners, that's the better one, so to speak. But it's not really. All the wankers go there. But they're so proud of it, they wear the merch.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, come on. I don't even think you're on the sports team.
No. I thought we probably talked about that way back when. Like when we had like university sports gear to discuss in the movie. But like, I never got into that. The whole wearing your alma mater things.
You're not a sporty guy.
Well, I'm not a sporty guy. Plus, I'm just not very. I don't think I'm very proud of anything. To be honest, like,
no,
I've never been like I'm Irish, but I don't go around with like a tricolor flag anywhere and like that. I'm just like, yeah, it's just part of who I am. It's not like I'm not ashamed of it. I'm just not fussed either. It's just.
Well, it's hard to be proud of something you're not really involved in.
Yeah.
You're not working for the Irish government.
But also too, they came out with like there has been movies by minutes merchandise too, because they do those meetups and they're selling. They have the whole Has a Tiger thing, and they're selling sweatshirts, and friend of the show Liz Whitaker's designed this, that, and the other, and other people, and they were all flocking merch, and I was just like, yeah, I'm part of that community. Yeah, I've done many movies by minutes to completion, more than many of the people involved in those meetups. And yet, would I buy any of the merch? Nah. It's like, it's just part of who I am. It's not a thing I need to show off. It's just it's but a facet of the complicated diamond that is me.
The Joseph Diamond.
There you go. Beautiful segue. Yeah. Because we are here today to talk about minute 85 of Miami Connection, the last minute with actual footage. It opens with some us getting a textual education, and ends a minute later with a credit accumulation. We're coming here now. We talked about it a bit last week, but we still have what's that annoying thing that people say online now? They're always just like, say it louder for the people at the back.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I hate people who say that. I hate people who do the little clap emojis between words for emphasis.
Oh, no, that annoys me, because it's always people who are really smug about their opinion.
Yeah. There's never, just no. I was going to launch into like a broad, like, not stereotyping, but a very like, a broad opinion of all those type of people. But I was like, should I not? Because you never know, there could be nuance to it. But like, no, literally every single person who does that is an asshole.
They're subhuman scum, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. That's like, if you have ever, I don't even care now if you've redeemed your way. If you ever put the clap emoji in between things, you should go off and cut off one of your hands. Just and then so you could never clap again.
But Niall, that's violence.
Oh, yes.
And we've got to eliminate violence. In fact, we've got these awe-inspiring words right in front of us, and you're saying that kind of thing. And, all I can think is, we've got to achieve world peace. Yashito-san, tear down this ninja clan.
It is just like using the term "eliminate," though. It's just so like only through termination of violence.
Yeah, that actually lends it a kind of a scary, sort of fascistic tone.
It could be that like YK Kim saw this on like a banner in Korea and was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds pretty sweet." And like, no, that's the North Korean, the guy.
I suppose the wording, it sort of reminded me of. I remember, as everything comes back to wrestling in this, I remember when WWE first launched their pay-per-view thing, it sort of replaced the steel cage. They got the Elimination Chamber.
Oh.
And so, but when they go to Germany, they're like, no, you can't call it that here. That's a specific thing. You can't call it the Elimination Chamber. So it has a different name.
Yes, I mean, like... Of course.
I'm with the Germans on this. I'm like, no, you shouldn't call it that. Really?
Yeah. Did Charles Dance's dad invent the Elimination Chamber, or is that?
Oh my God!
I have to say, I was doing my work, John. I was out there all weekend after that episode, telling people about Walter Dance and how he invented the concentration camp.
Jesus Christ!
It's like, I'm taking down this Dance dynasty over here. I'm gonna that Charles Dance. He seems like a perfectly nice guy, but I'm taking him down.
You're eliminating violence.
I'm eliminating violence through the passive-aggressive verbal takedown of Charles Dance, a man who has done nothing to me, and as far as I'm aware, has done nothing to anybody. But
he's done nothing for you, though.
Yeah. Well, I do enjoy Last Action Hero, to be fair.
Well, I suppose he's given you cinematic joy. Yeah, that's something.
So every time I see the word Dracula, I keep thinking of him going, Dracula, Dracula. Oh, that's right, I can get King Kong, and just shooting at Arnold Schwarzenegger in the distance.
Oh, what a classic line and movie. I don't care if it's meant to be bad. Fuck off.
Should we do that one next? We're always on the lookout. We did do a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger material for Batman and Robin, to be fair. So I think we would
yeah, that stops us how?
I mean, it does stop us, to be fair. But like, it's... I mean, we are accumulating a list of films to do next. That I believe there was talk of putting a poll up. Because
considering it, yeah.
Yeah, so the thing, I don't know if you want to get into them on air, but like, Samurai Cop was mentioned, Hasu or House, which is my personal favorite. If people, if people want to know which way I'm leaning, but I would add, Last Action Hero to that because like,
why not?
That's actually, it's a thing we have very publicly stated several times. That it's like it's insane that it's not had its renaissance yet. Like.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to like do a sequel to prove that it's good.
No, I think it's like its reputation is so. I think maybe it'll be like after Arnie's dead or something that will get.
Oh, they'll reboot it with some idiot.
I don't even know if it would be warrant a I think it's got such a reputation as like a cinematic bomb that like people wouldn't dare touch it, basically. And that's what I mean. Right, I would have thought by now it would have such a cult following that like Netflix would be doing like a TV show or something.
Yeah.
But I think it's still in the dirt somehow, even though it's great. Like, what the hell's people's problem?
Well, when we were kids, I don't remember any talk among the kids of it being a bad film.
Not at all.
I'm sure maybe these reviewers, but kids didn't fucking listen to reviewers.
No. Although that'd be the same people that'll be like, oh, you kids don't know anything. That's why you're kids, because you're stupid.
Well, yeah. Well, speaking of knowing things, I thought I would look up some quotes about peace from people who know about this kind of thing.
Yeah. Giving peace a chance. I know that one.
Well, that actually came up on the list. Bizarrely. Because I was looking for more like political figures and things like that.
That was the original way that song went was, all we are saying is only through the elimination of violence can we achieve world peace.
It's like, it's not snappy enough.
It's like, you got to cut out like 70% of the words there, I think.
Now, let me just say up front as well, I don't necessarily agree with it. Not that I'm against peace. It's just, there's different ways. These are very, I don't want to say naive, but they might be a bit naive.
Yeah.
A bit like this quote, which is why it's perfect in a way. Because Albert Einstein said, Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. And it's like, yeah, I mean, technically that is true. And most things that are, when they try and keep it by force, it always has a bad outcome, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It never, I mean, a bad outcome for the oppressor, usually. I mean, it always falls.
Yeah.
So he's right. I just think it can only be achieved by understanding. It feels very like hippie.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, like give peace a chance. You know, oh, okay, cool. I didn't think about that.
You look at Albert Einstein, just look at that man in any other decade. That's this full-blown hippie look he's got going on there. You know?
Maybe he's like the proto-hippie. I've never thought about that.
I think his poster with the tongue out was on many hippie walls back in the day, you know? So.
Yeah.
But no, I think
that's a classic one.
It's that thing, too, of just like, you know, the best thing I've ever seen written about peace was from an episode of Doctor Who. And it wasn't a short, snappy thing, but there's an episode at the end of a two-parter, which is like, it was the best work that Peter Capaldi ever did on the show, where Earth had been taken over by the Zygons, or there was about to be taken over by the Zygons. Zygons are like shapeshifters.
I was trying to remember which ones they were. Okay, yeah.
Big like starfish-looking things, but they're shapeshifters, so people don't have to get in the makeup as much. And like Jenna Coleman was one of them. And then it turned out like there was she had gotten to like a box that had this device that was like, if you push the button, it would destroy like all the people in the world or whatever. You know, big apocalyptic kind of bull plop. And then the people on the other side, they also had a button, and neither one knew which one was going to do what and all this kind of thing. And then
I like that. It's a very Star Trek way of like simplifying conflict.
It's actually, there's a very Star Trek kind of scene as well, because Capaldi comes in and he's like, and because it was him who provided, like the doctor provided these boxes in case of like years ago in case of emergency. And then he's just like, oh God, I know what these things are. And he goes into the whole big, and it's a big long like 10-minute sequence of just Peter Capaldi talking to Jenna Coleman about peace and the concept of like, you know, you know what it means? It just means that you just need to calm down and all this kind of like, and you know, how many lives will be lost and how many hearts will be broken? How many children will be burned and scarred for life when all you need to do is just sit down and talk and all this kind of stuff. And everything he's saying is all perfectly correct. It's like, oh, all the wars could be avoided if people will just sit down and talk it out. That's because, no, and again, he points out in the scene as well. It's like, yeah, you'll do all the violence. And at the end of the day, it's all going to just come down to people sitting in a room and talking, because that's when armistices happen and things. Like, you have to have like little things of going like, okay, so now the war's over, so now we have to actually talk about how we're going to deal with things. You know, that's someone's quote unquote one and stuff like that. And like,
I like that though.
Yeah, but I would recommend anyone look up that scene because it's just like Capaldi's, holy moly, he's selling it. Like he's in top form. But yeah, he goes through like literally everything about the concept of, you know, why wars exist and how stupid they are, and everything he's saying is, you're like, yeah, you're totally correct, man. And then the big twist at the end is that like they're like, oh, so which button would have blown everything up? And he's just like, oh, neither of them would have. Like, it was like,
they do nothing?
Yeah, he's just like, no, I wouldn't give people that. Are you mental? No, I put it there to like let you think you had some sort of power and stuff. And his whole thing is like the entire time he knew nothing was going to happen, but he was just really, he didn't want it to turn into like a big thing. He just wanted to like reason with people, and his whole thing was to make them think something was going to happen, so he could actually get emotions high enough, so he could make them see how stupid they were being and stuff like that. So it's great scene. So
I like that. Yeah, that's cool. And it's actually going to work quite well as a little bridge, because I mean, obviously, my other quote you've said already, give peace a chance. And then there was another one, you know, Gandhi's an eye for an eye ends up making the whole world blind. You're like, okay, yeah, I get it, but it's a bit naive again, isn't it? Like, oh, don't hurt anyone in your quest for freedom. Gandhi. Doesn't always work like that when the people are trying to, you know, the enemy's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
But I thought that then sort of bridges into two I found that were actually much more, I thought, realistic. You got one from Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, it isn't enough to talk about peace. So sorry, YK Kim. One must believe in it, and it isn't enough to believe in it. one must work at it. It's like, yes, that's more accurate. You can't just go, you know what, let's all be friends.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't work like that, sadly. I wish it did.
I believe that's an abbreviated version of the quote, because then she says, not only do you have to work at it, you have to eliminate violence. And eliminating, not only do you have to eliminate violence, you also have to achieve world peace.
Oh, that's where they stole it from Eleanor Roosevelt. You thieves. And the last one I had was Kofi Annan, which I didn't realize he was dead. He died a while ago.
No.
I thought he was still alive, but I should know that as a politics student.
Yes, if he's so smart, how come he's dead?
Yeah, maybe he fell to violence. No, he didn't. His quote was, "If war is the failure of diplomacy, then diplomacy," I'll cut out a bit because it's a bit boring, "is our first line of..." No, it gets very technical. "Then diplomacy is our first line of defense."
I just love that he was making the speech.
That's what he said.
He was just like, I'm just going to skip past this bit because this is stupid. All right. Okay. Yeah. Only through the elimination of violence can we achieve world peace. There you go. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, God. Listeners, I'll have edited that out. I was laughing so much I was just coughing my lungs up. I'm not leaving that in for your ears, but oh my God, now you've killed me. Holy shit. Oh, no. Anyway, then diplomacy is our first line of defense. The world today spends billions preparing for war. Shouldn't we spend $1 billion or $2 billion preparing for peace?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, yeah, actually. I mean, look at the military spends of most nations, especially America, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Couldn't you spend that on like something else?
I think the thing is though, because it's all beautiful in theory and stuff as well. Like it's all down to, I think, mass paranoia and anxiety about like the other person, because
Yeah.
people could be like, you know, the whole thing of like, oh, if the U.S. was to give up its military funding for one day, then like literally it could stop world hunger, like that kind of like that. Apparently, that's the scale of how much the military industrial complex is spinning out. You know,
Wouldn't surprise me if that's right. Yeah.
but then their whole thing would be like, yeah, we could set the example, be like, yeah, we're getting rid of our military, and we're just like, we're not doing any of that anymore. But then it'd always be like, well, some of the taxes though, like, and it's always going to be that, even if every 99.99999% of countries all got rid of their military, and we're just like, no, we're not doing that anymore. There would always be like, well, just takes one person to be like, well, I mean, I got that, now I got the advantage. Okay, I'm going for it.
I mean, yeah, it's a valid fear, but I think like there becomes a point where it's like now it's just crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like you could put, as he says, you could spend $1 billion or $2 billion to world peace, couldn't you? Couldn't you? Come on, a little bit.
Not me personally, but yeah.
Well, Niall, you've said you are going to give $2 billion
What?
to various causes, haven't you? After this show,
That was you edited my raw audio into or chat AI botted me to say that, John.
maybe we should jokingly, like, well, not jokingly, I mean seriously, but it's funny at the same time. We should raise funds that will donate to some peace charity through the pod in YK's name.
Can we just do that though, just to see if we get any more Patreon supporters? Maybe being like, if people give us this amount of money, we will achieve world peace. Like me and you will take it upon ourselves to be like, okay, we said if we got to like 200 a month,
you know what I'm going to do genuinely now? I'm going to go to the Patreon and I'm going to add it as a stretch goal.
Yeah, there you go.
If we hit $1 billion, world peace will be achieved.
Yeah, and just like 50 years, the two of us is like just old fogies going around, just like banging on like dictators' doors, going like, okay, we finally got you. Like.
All it'll take is $1 billion to the Sleepy Charlie Media Patreon.
Doesn't all have to come from one person, just collectively we can get $1 billion. But of course, then we get the $1 billion. By that point, we'd have like space rockets and stuff, so we'd be able to like me and you would be like, all right, we're out here.
Well, we are out of here in a way, because immediately after this, we're in credits town, baby. Whoosh! There's an actual whoosh.
Yeah. Good old like, just I know we're gonna save talk about this song until next week.
Listeners, that's one reason for that is because like we've got stuff to talk about this minute.
Yeah.
Next minute's going to be a bit more of a challenge, and the song's still playing, so we're gonna do the song then.
But the songs, it's, you know, that whoosh sound effect, and like the song's a bit sort of upbeat as well. I was just wondering, like, was this always in place to be the end? So, like, were they always going to have that little sound effect going into, like, I suppose maybe in another way, if it had ended with that shot on Mark, you know, brandishing the sword and the come on, and then it did like a weird like
but not into this song, surely.
I don't know, maybe it would take on a melancholy edge, though, like the upbeatness. It's gonna be like, remember the good times we had. But then I don't think they would have all this footage as well. Like, that would be way too much of a whiplash to go in from like, oh, remember all the seeing how far Mark has fallen, and then been like, remember the good times though.
Remember when Jim was alive?
Yeah, we got a lot of them actually, and then
exactly, it's focused on him quite a lot, and I love this. Right, it's kind of like how I'm sure there's a name for it, but I'm not aware. It's like how TV shows do credits.
Yes.
You know, where you get shots of the actors alongside the names. And, I know this wouldn't work for every genre. Like, this wouldn't be very good for, like, a horror movie or something. But on the whole, I prefer this approach, to be honest. Because I put names to faces then.
Yeah. I think this was, as I recall, this this kind of technique goes way, way back to, like, when... Like, I think they used to kind of put things like this even at the start of films. Like, I'm pretty sure The Public Enemy with Jimmy Cagney starts...
And Flavor Flav.
Yep. But I'm pretty sure that starts with, like, a little kind of credits preamble where they're like, James Cagney, and he does, like, a little, like... He does, like, a kind of little finger guns to the camera and stuff. Hey. And then it's just like, and, you know, Doris Day. Well, it's not Doris Day, but, like, you know, whoever it was back then. There's a
Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav. And then Flavor Flav come out with, like, the, you know, point at the clock and stuff like that. And, because then, you know, way back in the day, they never used to have end credits. So it used to be, like, literally just one screen of text. And then just like, right, and then you're done.
It always felt like really anticlimactic when you watched it. I understand, but can't you put something at the end to, like, you know, fade out slowly? Did they literally just go, oh, it's the end of the movie, bye?
Yeah, the most egregious one of it, North by Northwest.
Yeah.
Because that's just like, that's 3 hours long. And then literally the last scene seems to last about maybe 10 seconds. Yeah. And then just Cary Grant rolls over in the bed. And then it's just like, the end. And you're like, whoa, what? Well, he was on...
The DVD just stops.
He was on Mount Rushmore literally 5 seconds ago, and now he's on a train somewhere, and now the film's done. Like,
it's crazy. It's crazy. That's why, again, okay, not every genre can do this. That's fine. But most, I think, can and would benefit from it.
Yeah.
I've noticed it happening a lot more again lately, actually. Maybe not to this degree where it literally feels like you've just watched some 80s comedy action about a cop in Miami, you know.
I think this kind of thing really reminds me of, again, like you said, that. So I think they used to do it back in the beginning of movies, and then it started transitioning into like the end, where they do like particularly for lighthearted comedies and stuff. They'd be like, oh, here's, you know, all the wacky times we had and stuff, and then TV. Like I would associate something like this with like Taxi.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Happy Days, I think, even did things like this, you know.
Oh, Happy Days did, absolutely.
Yeah, and they'd always get through the cast, and then they'd cut to, like, Taxi would just cut to a cab driving through New York for the last little bit and things like that. But, like, I know nowadays there's a whole new thing with credits where, like, it's like the graphic design hour where you get someone to come in and do something crazy for a little. Like...
Oh, and I love it because me and you are the kind of people who, you know, most of the time we're sitting through those credits.
Oh yeah.
So give me something, please.
Yeah, and they get like they do a good like they'll do the first like chunk of credits, and then it'll come to like your 20th Century Fox presents, and then the thing will come up again, and then it goes to black text with white writing. But you feel like, I think the one I remember the one that really stuck with me because it was great was X-Men First Class.
Oh yeah,
because I had the big ending where Fassbender finally shows up in the Magneto outfit, and he's just like, I prefer Magneto, and then it just cuts into all this like retro 1960s because it's set in the 60s. Sort of Bond-esque sort of credits.
Oh yeah,
and
I forgot about that.
And the incredible Magneto leitmotif. Like in that movie, he has his own theme tune, which is amazing, and they never bring it back for any of the other films. It infuriates me every time. And then Yeah, at the end, they go through all this different stuff, and you got the whole cast list, and you're so pumped that you just watched this thing. And then it just has, at the end, just like, again, 20th Century Fox presents X-Men First Class, and then the music just ends. And then they go into the Take That spin-off single afterwards. But you feel like, those are some credits right there. Like, that's how you end the movie, you know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but like I think that's kind of standard now. Where like I even watched "Love Lies Bleeding" the other day. Like little
fantastic title alone.
Oh, fantastic! Although I keep for some reason in my head calling it "Only Lovers Left Alive."
To be honest, when I saw the poster with the name on, I thought that as well.
Yeah, it's weird though because all it has in common is like L. Like just the letter L. Love Lies Bleeding, Only Lovers. Oh, love is in there. I guess that's it.
And it's a long, pretentious title. And I don't mean that as a knock. I like pretension.
Yeah. But then at the end of that, like, it has a great last shot. Not only lovers left, like, Love Lies Bleeding. And then they have like a little, like, the opening of the credits is like 5 minutes of like Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien like in silhouettes, like shadow boxing for a while. And you're kind of like, oh, yeah, I gotta watch this now. And then it just stops, and it goes into the other credits. You're like, but yeah, it's the rule now that like, yeah, you always have to have a little thing at the beginning of your credits before you get into the actual like the nitty gritty technical like. Okay, here's the people now. We all have to, we're part of a union, so we have to. We literally have to.
Here's the people you don't really care about.
Yeah, here's all like the craft service people and the things like that who just want to show off for their friends, but they're like. There's 25,000 of them, something like that. But
now, normally, when we do credits in our minute by minute stuff, we do care about these people, and we delve into them and that. But as we're going to find out going forward, as managers will say, not really the case here.
Well, I think that's been the upside and downside of this whole movie. It's that like what happened to these people? What else have they done? Nothing.
little. There's an occasional one or two that'll surprise you. I mean, first up, of course, we've got YK Kim. We've talked about YK Kim since episode 0, which does exist, listeners, if you haven't listened to that. But the first thing I could think of, like, was, with these shots, these are all like outtakes and things not intended for the film, right? This is just them just like chatting on set.
I think this is actual footage from the film. I think this is part of like some of the Uncle Song scenes. Is
it? We'd have to go back and check because I think maybe they're different takes then.
There might be different takes, but like I don't know. But it's definitely not stuff shot especially for these purposes. But like, so that was the one that really weirded me out was remember they had a Predator. They do this, like Predator, big serious. Like it's not serious, but it's like crazy action. But it has like a dramatic ending, kind of. When you're like, oh yeah, he blew up the jungle or whatever. Arnie got away. But then it cuts to like it's all specially shot footage of like Bill Duke, and it's like him looking at the camera, going, "Hey, it's me, Bill Duke."
It's amazing.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura like winking and chewing gum, and they're all full on addressing the camera, doing a little bit. Like even that lady who's in it. It's just like, yeah, she has the head down, she looks up and she smiles directly at the camera like, hey, we're all on set having a good time. We're making a movie. Isn't this fun? And then weirdly, the only person who doesn't do that is Arnie. Like, because he's the last one. And he does the dramatic, like, and Anthony Stewart head as Giles head turn.
Oh, that bit of Giles is my favorite thing in the whole damn show.
Yeah. I say, too, rewatching season 1, it's all just like, there's that bit from the opening titles. And there's that bit, and there's that bit. Oh, there's Giles doing the head turn.
They didn't have much to work with.
No, but then they stuck with it for so long. Where like season 5, you're still looking at stuff from season 1.
It's crazy because they've changed a lot by that point.
Yeah, but I do wonder why in Predator they did, because Arnie's the guy who would be like the most fun. Like I'm sure everyone who worked on it was like they're all fun guys. But like Arnie is a guy who's notorious for his like japery. And like been just a kind of a social gadfly and been good fun with people and stuff. So why everyone else got to do like a little comedy bit where they weren't in character and it was clearly just shot to be like, hey, do a thing for the end credits. And then Arnie has it like it's just like an outtake of like Dutch turning around, like dramatically, like something from like the trailer or whatever.
Ego, I'm going to hypothesize something based on our Arnold research from our other show. I could fully imagine he said to everyone, oh, hey, everybody, let's all do like a funny thing. We'll do like a comedy bit. And knowing that, like, I'm going to look cooler because I'm not going to do that. Because this is a man who loves to take the piss.
He does. But then, just like, in many ways, it's just like, oh, it seems like he wasn't part of the fun. Like, it kind of feels like he was very, like, that makes him separate from everyone else.
Because he's so tough.
Yeah. It could also be, too, because, like, Dutch is supposed to be, like, your anchor character. It's like, we don't want to break that. We want him to look like, cool and serious or whatever. But then just have all of them look cool and serious. I don't know. Like, I think back in the day with, like, little things, like that thing with the Public Enemy. I was talking about the James Cagney one. I think they put them in as part of, like, how to get around the ratings board. Because it was kind of like, look, it's it's actors playing characters. Like, people back in the day, they'd be like, if you make a movie about gangsters, you're going to romanticize gangsters and everyone's going to go out and be a gangster. And like you have to show something going wrong for them. And, we can't, it has to, you have to, like, you can't make this seem like this is the way to go for people. And so I think a little thing they were doing there was just like, yeah, if you show Jimmy Cagney, been like, hey, like outside of the movie, outside of character or in character, but in a kind of like little pocket universe. Yeah. It kind of highlights that this is a film and you're not watching a real life thing that you should be emulating. Like,
and it gets that out of the way immediately. Like, oh, look, don't worry.
Yeah. And that's morphed in years later to like friggin' like now, like the one I don't know. I don't have much time for the blooper reel.
No, it was fun like initially, and then it was so overdone in especially like the early 2000s with shit that just wasn't funny.
Yeah. Euro trip.
Yeah.
Like we had a good time. Didn't you have a good time watching it? Like,
no.
I mean, you look like you're having a better time making it than I had watching it, quite frankly. But
yeah, it started feeling like I felt excluded from the comedy because they were all pissing themselves laughing at stuff and I didn't get what was funny.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even like a funny outtake. It was just, oh, he fucked up his line. Oh, isn't this crazy? Oh, we're so goofy. And it's like, I don't know you.
Yeah. Or someone, I always think of like, sometimes you see people will intentionally flub a line to tell a joke in the middle of a take. So someone will just be like, they'll be in the middle of a big serious thing, and then the co-star will turn to them and say something completely stupid. And they'll do it multiple times. So you always get the little boop, and then it cuts into another version of them doing it. And then they're like, oh, almost got that time. And all the people all rolling around laughing and stuff. In my head, I just keep thinking, like, we're burning daylight here, guys. Like,
yeah, come on, move.
Yeah, there's people there who have families who are like, I don't get this wrong. Don't deliberately mess around because now we have to reset. Now everyone has to go back to their mark, and we have to make sure the lights are fixed just right again, and everything's
have fun in your own time.
Yeah, and then it was low budget too. Back in the day, when you were recording on like actual physical tape and celluloid and stuff like that, it would also be like, okay, so I guess now we have to rewind the machines to tape over that or we can't be done. So well, obviously now they had the outtake, so they didn't tape over it. But it could be like, we're a low budget film, like we can't just be burning this stuff. Like we need this celluloid. It all costs money, Now you're just wasting it.
Maybe that's what led to an overabundance of it. It was film going digital. Because then it didn't matter. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you always get the ones that like it's not a blooper reel, but then you'll have like the real outliers, like your Spinal Taps.
Oh, well, yeah.
Where it's just all bonus material. Where you just cut back to like, yeah, here's like a little mini movie in the end credits of just all of this other stuff with these guys in character. And you're like, this is great. Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, I like that kind of thing. But plus, those guys from Spinal Tap. I was going to say they can do no wrong, but we'll confirm that when we see this upcoming sequel. I'm skeptical.
The fact that people are calling it Spinal Tap 2 when I'm like, there is a Spinal Tap 2. And just nobody wants to talk about it.
Well, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, so they can do wrong, is the thing.
We'll reserve judgment. But up next, we have Vincent Hirsch. Mm-hmm. And in fact, there's two topless dudes here, so take a drink. So, see, there are still drinks.
They said they're doing two guys to a name is weird though, because if
2 guys 1 cup, yes,
2 guys 1 cup, of course. Don't take your drink out of that cup. By the way.
No, I agree though. Like it's almost like for Vincent Hirsch, he's like, we haven't got any other footage of you, man. This is the only one we've got.
But does he go into YK Kim? Just then him and Jim, YK Jim. So some people might be confused, going, so which one's YK Kim? Is it?
Let's be honest. In that case, I think I know which one's YK Kim. With this one, it could be either guy.
Yeah. You're just kind of like, I guess he was in it more, that guy. So, but then Vincent Hirsch isn't looking at the guy. Like Joseph Diamond's more angled at the camera. So
yeah, he's center-ish.
Yeah, he looks like it's more like this is his credit. It's just.
It's crazy. It's so strange. You know, actually, I did have a note. Actually, did we talk about? We may have done a year ago. Vincent's other role, Goshu Shidan.
No, I don't believe we did.
Right, that's a movie he's in. My pronunciation will be terrible. It's been like 5 years since I learned any Mandarin. Goshu Shidan. I think it's Dan or Dan. And the plot is thus, technically. Li Tin and his friend, Sao, travel the country, going from one martial arts school to the next, challenging teacher and student to test his skills. He soon finds himself facing his most dangerous adversary in a town that is ruled by the Leopard. Sounds amazing. Bonus episode coming.
I mean, it could be the next movie.
Maybe not minute by minute. Maybe not. Yeah, I'll gladly talk about it. That sounds great. I don't know how big Vincent Hirsch's role is in it, because IMDb's for movies like that, you can never judge.
Yeah, there's no other affiliation though. There's no like YK Kim's in there.
Nope.
So he was right. He was riding high, I guess. So maybe at least somebody got to parlay their way into another part out of this thing.
Well, I am actually surprised that a lot of people, especially some people coming up in a minute, William Ergel and C.E. Joe, I'm surprised they didn't at least get work on like stunt teams.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like, okay, maybe not lead actors, but get them on a stunt team. They can work.
Yeah. That's what you can only put down to like, you know, the colossal failure of the film upon release. It's been like, oh, it left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. But like, I would have thought more from some of those guys who are like into, martial arts as a thing. It's like, oh, it's one step at a time.
Exactly.
It's you have to trust the process. Like to just give up, it just seems very like, that's it. Then I'm never going to do it again. It's like, come on, man. Like you keep going.
I think part of it might come. I mean, I haven't heard them say this, but might come from the fact that these guys didn't set out to act. They were sort of just doing Kim a favor.
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't. They were just like, I'm not doing that again. I don't want to do that. I just want to do my martial arts, really.
Yeah, you get some of those people out of like Jason Mewes out of Clerks, from Jay and Silent Bob when he shows up in other things. And you're like, what are you doing here? Like,
it's weird.
It's like you're just Kevin Smith's friend. Well, you shouldn't actually be trying to be an actor. Like, what's happening here?
It was weird enough yesterday when I saw a big banner with his face on in town because he's at Comic Con. It was just a picture of him in front of me. I'm like,
that's right. Both of them are they're going. Yeah,
yeah. And then there was a picture of Elijah Wood next to him. I'm like, this is surreal. I'm in another planet here. What's going on?
Yeah.
Then of course we have Maurice Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And he's about to do some taekwondo. Oh, wait, no, he isn't. Because he can't.
I enjoy his playful back and forth on stage, too. It's kind of half taekwondo, half dancing.
Yeah.
Like he's, you can tell he's got, like, this guy's got moves just by the, like, just the way, the motion of his body. It's just like, yeah, there's a guy much more in tune with, like, rhythm and stuff like that. I think he's going to...
So he'd be good at martial arts, then?
Yeah, it's a shame we never really see him do much, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
why didn't Kim train him? Maybe he was scared. Maybe he saw how at home he was in his body. And Kim's like, no, if I train him, it'll be like Anakin Skywalker. He'll be too powerful.
And then if I train him, I'll just have to kill him. I mean,
exactly. There'll be a showdown like 20 years from now. I'm going to have to end him.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible. Some people shouldn't be trained.
I did hope that we were going to get a reprise of the Taekwondo. Because you think it's one of the stars of the movie. But no, he didn't.
No, but the worst thing is, because I thought the same, but the worst part is, Kim goes to grab his nose with the foot, and then it cuts away. We've been denied. We've been blue-balled, blue-toed. That's terrible. That's disgraceful. How can you tease it like that?
No
Don't do
tollway. Denied.
Oh. You absolute bastard. You know, why, Kim, I'm going to write you a strongly worded tweet.
Is he still on Twitter anymore though? Because I know everyone's evacuating, but maybe he's such an old man that he's like, no, I'm not changing to any other kind of.
I mean, he's got an account. Whether he never bothered replying to me, but to be fair, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's glued to his phone.
No, not at all.
He probably checks it like once a week.
But I'll say too, the whole thing though of seeing all the guys doing this in the good times. This is a movie I think would have really suited the Buckaroo Banzai ending. You know, have you ever said like the Buckaroo Banzai is a movie that like I've unfortunately had to go on record several times as saying like I wish I liked more. Because it seems on paper like it should be literally the greatest thing that's ever been conceived by man. Like, the cast is extraordinary. The plot line's insane. It's got so much going for it that, like, when I first watched it, I was just like, this has to be just absolute, like, ambrosia for the eyes, this thing.
There's a book coming, right?
But it's just not that good. Like, it just says, like, it has all these amazing cast and crew members. Like, Christopher Lloyd. You got Jeff Goldblum. You got this. You got that. Clancy Brown's here. Like all this stuff, and then they just waste all of them. Like Christopher Lloyd's just a background, kind of like he's one of the villains, and you're just like, why you're just not using him? Like make him do more. Like what are you doing over here? But the greatest thing about Buckaroo Banzai is the end credits. Or it's not even end credits. Like they just at the end of the movie. They just have a sequence in, like, you know those, in LA, they have those, like, storm pathways where you, like, in Greece where they have, like, the car race and stuff.
Oh, yeah, those massive, big, I didn't realize that's what they were for.
Yeah, like Terminator 2, from John, like, where the motorbike chase happens down, like, the T-1000 drives off a bridge into, like, the storm drain. Yeah. Storm drain, that's what you call it.
Yeah, but in my mind, I think because I used to, when I was a kid growing up in Cyprus, I used to go playing in the storm drain. But that's literally like a little tunnel. You could get stuck in the storm drain.
Yeah.
We were told don't go in the storm drain, and I would. Yeah.
It was LA, I guess. It's just like, well, you never know. We need these things to be, like, you can literally get a friggin' lorry down here. But no, so, like, Buckaroo's Banzai ends, and then it just cuts to, like, this little great bit of music. This is just this catchy little jaunty tune.
Sounds amazing.
And it's just like, Peter Weller climbing as Buckaroo Banzai, climbing into the storm drain, dressed to the nines, and then just the rest of the cast gradually join him, and it's just them walking through the storm drain as this cool music plays, and you get to see like, oh, there's Jeff Goldblum dressed up as a cowboy, and like they're all wearing really cool outfits and stuff. And you just kind of has this real thing of like, oh man, I wish that movie was better because I'm just enjoying seeing all these guys hanging out now.
So you'd advise just watching that bit?
That end sequence is the best part of the whole film, and it's just such a kind of thing of like, yeah, look at this, this crazy cast and crew we got together. Here they are now, just all hanging out, just walking down a storm drain, and then they walk past a wall that says Buckaroo Banzai, and then the credits start. But that's the type of thing like I could imagine happening for Miami Connection, just like Mark climbing down into a storm drain. And then gathering, Vincent Hirsch comes, and then Maurice, and then just Dragon Sound, just like them all walking towards camera or something at the end, and you just have a little moment of like, hey, there's Jim, and there's Joe Jack, and there's Jane, and all like
all your favorites.
Yeah,
they're all here.
I guess that always has to be the heroes though, because that's the thing in Buckaroo Banzai is just like, well, John Lithgow was a major part of this movie. It's like, oh no, but he was the bad guy. You can't have the bad guy be hanging out with the good guys at the end. It has to be all the heroes and stuff. But like, it'll distract people otherwise. It's like, but half of these characters are dead. So now I'm distracted. Like, why are they alive again?
That's not the important part, though. You can't mix morals.
Yeah. But no, I totally would have more films don't do the Buckaroo Banzai film, ending.
Yeah, sounds good though. It sounds really good.
But my Miami Connection will be one that I'll be like, yeah, go for it. I think they would have got away with it. But
something I think someone shouldn't have got away with, is next we've got Angelo, good old Angelo, with more shots of him getting his comeuppance on the beach. Also topless, actually. First, have a drink. Hang on. But I mean, well, the problem I have, right, is that I get the impression, like, I think this dude enjoyed this a little bit too much, and he probably asked them, like, can you put that extra footage in of me and the girls? He seems to be like, yeah, I'm cool. Look at me. Yeah. I'm with the ladies.
It's like they had, like, this footage went on for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like they
we have to do another take.
Yeah. Although it'll be very hard to hide, like, if he was getting off on this, you know.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, and that's where he's channeled all his taekwondo training, is to, like, staying flaccid during erotic scenarios.
He's perfected the art of rerouting the blood. It's a meditation technique passed down through generations.
If you look at his foot now, it's just bright red.
3 times the size. He's a master. Goddammit.
So YK Kim's just like, you know, he didn't fight much in the movie, but he's one of my best students. Like, and he does stuff like, it doesn't really pay off visually, but spiritually, and you know, as a pervert, yes, it does some great wonders.
Especially Chinese, but Japanese as well, like martial arts movies, there's always a random perv character. Mm-hmm. There's always some dirty pervert character. And I'm like, I wonder what that is. Why?
Like, it might just be this is the humor. It's just like, oh, everyone can empathize and also laugh at that. It could be
the dirty git.
Like, that's where they're coming from with this. It's like, oh yeah, you have to have some sleazebag, you know. That's just
yeah. And you know what? It's mild sleazebaggery.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, you know, like way back in the day, like, you know, Harpo Marx is a beloved, you know, comedy institution. But you watch so many Marx Brothers movies, it's usually just him doggedly pursuing women, like,
who don't want him.
Yeah, it's proper Pepe Le Pew kind of stuff. And you're like, well, that was just, people thought that was funny back then.
It's funny to pursue women who want to get away from you. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
They'll eventually cave. Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's just like, because he's silent as well. He's not doing any charming. He's just going after them. Like, it's full on. Like, this isn't. He's just. I'm just taking it. It's like he's a dog or something.
Maybe if you ask Angelo about this, he's like, I was channeling Groucho.
Yeah. My whole thing was I wanted to be like a silent clown guy. Who just went around with, like, you know, horns and
well, some kind of
well, he has one kind of horn was retained.
He's got the horn, baby.
But like, just supposed to have like whistles and stuff like that. And they're like, well, who's gonna sing the song then? Like, oh, god damn
it. Speaking of songs, the next one we've got Joseph Diamond, and it's a live shot of them, you know, playing at the gig. It's him drumming away.
You can barely see him.
You can barely. I mean, that's probably doing him some favors, isn't it? He's probably shitting himself. He always looks nervous, I think. But the first thing I noticed, they've spelled his name wrong.
Oh, Diamond.
Yeah.
Diamond. Yeah. Is it supposed to be? Yeah.
They've spelled it as Diamond.
Oh, well, that might have been a stage thing he was working on, maybe, though.
It's possible.
Yeah. And then they realized, like, you ain't got any charm. Man, you ain't making it. Like, the name Joseph Diamond's all you got. So.
He was planned to be the breakout star of this movie, Niall. He was going places.
It's like, everyone's going to talk about that every night. See? People going to love this guy.
What? You know what? He's someone else who did do a little bit of other work. Not lots. But I looked this up. I don't think we talked about this, but again, correct me if I'm wrong. He made his own documentary. The Iber connection.
Yeah, we did talk about this because it's very strange. Yeah. It's very, very weird. The Iber connection. I
couldn't remember if we did, and I'll be honest, I thought to myself, I'm not listening to like 60 hours or something.
To go back through,
Yeah. But yeah, so he did the Iber connection, which we may have talked about before there. If you remember, listeners, it's basically about him going around spiritual sites in like Israel and stuff, going to tombs because there's a magical energy known as the Iber, and this magical energy makes your dreams, your wishes, and your miracles come true, which is very interesting. It basically sounds like a religious version of what he wanted their tour to be in the movie.
Yeah.
He's going because he goes to Israel, West Bank, Morocco, Ukraine, Poland. He's going all around. I'm assuming mostly Jewish sites, but there's a couple here that I think a Christian as well.
Do you think the name Iber Connection was like cruising on like Miami Connection.
100,000%. There's no fucking way he wasn't ripping his own movie.
Yeah, he's like, oh, people are gonna expect some kind of connection to Miami, so Miami Connection, Hyper Connection. There you go.
I don't blame him. And it does at least make sense within the context of this documentary, because he's looking at what connects these sites and these shrines and things like that. So it works.
Do you think maybe him, by going to all these sites, he got his wish? Like his wish was like that our movie would have been a hit, and then by doing that, that's then like the spirits moved the Alamo Draft House to find.
Holy shit! Wait, when did the Iber Connection come out? Let's see.
They manifested.
We might have proved religion right now, like Hulk Hogan did with his phone message from Roddy Piper from Beyond the Grave.
How did they not call him out that? Like people, because this is like a thing that just happened the other day. But like, yeah, this week Hulk Hogan, who's now like full on born again Christian, was talking about like that he got a post death phone message from Roddy Piper from the afterlife, talking about like, oh yeah, I'm just walking up here thinking about you, man.
Walking with Jesus, loving you, brother.
Yeah, yeah. And like, why would like? Surely your next question would be like, oh, so do you have the message? Like, can we hear? Why didn't you tell everybody else about this at the time? Like.
Well, it's a bit like when I went to Prague. I've said this before on one of our shows. And I went to the synagogue where the golem that saved the city is from, the magical creature created by the rabbi, and it's meant to be in the attic of the synagogue. Can I see it? No.
Yes. But that's the kind of thing you would be like, Hulk. You're saying you have proof of the afterlife here. Like you gotta. You'll be running out of the house going, everyone has to hear this. Like, but then he just is like, I don't think there was any follow up.
No, you're 100% right though. You are like, even Hulk Hogan, he's a religious person, right? First thing he would do is be like, oh my god, I need to take this to someone.
Yeah,
this is a fucking phone message from beyond the grave, from heaven, proving that Christianity is real.
Yeah, you'd be playing to other people going like, does this... Although Hulk seems like he'd be a guy who would like just follow his gut and never ask anybody else's advice about anything ever.
No. But no. Plus maybe that's like, it's going against God. No, I don't need proof. I've just listened to it. That's all the proof I need.
And also, slightly devastated that it was Roddy Piper and not Macho Man. Just threatening him from beyond the grave.
Yeah, he would be threatening him. That's the thing. I mean, to be honest though, the weird thing is about this clear lie, Piper did not really like him either. It's a weird thing to say that he said, and it's like, he wasn't your best mate.
I think that's maybe like that's why Hulk was kind of pointing it out. I've been like, well, like yeah, even in death, it all melted away because now like he's just calling me with nothing but love, like because now he's seen the universe in its entirety and stuff. He knows
that's
better.
True.
Whereas Macho Man would still be like, the hell with him. I'm no way am I talking to Hulk Hogan.
Well, we do get a credit now for Kathy Collier, moving and grooving.
Also to say too, Joseph Diamond, barely visible, also way shorter than everybody else's. Like, as if they're kind of like, oh yeah, better go to him something. Like,
well, yeah, they know he doesn't matter.
Yeah,
he doesn't do as much in the movie. Give him less time.
But I feel like everyone else gets a good like 5-6 seconds.
Well, they're in the movie longer.
Yeah, and then he's just like, meh. But then Jane's in the
maybe it's based on screen time, the length.
But I think they go back to Jane. Then Jane gets she gets proper, like a proper accredited. Like it's.
Yeah, and to be honest, we did notice going minute by minute, which I never noticed any other viewing. Jane just disappears in this fucking movie.
Oh yeah. Did she just
that shocked me?
There's full on. Like she's just left at the house with Angelo. I guess at the end is the thing. It's like, yep, domestic bliss over there.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You could have even done. I know it's a bit cheesy and stereotypical and a bit sexist. She could have been a bit of a damsel in distress at the end. I guess Yoshito could have taken her and like had a knife to her throat or something. I
guess they already did it with Tom, so they're just like, I can't have two. Tom was the damsel. Basically,
oh,
so
yes.
It's like, oh, we did that, Now it's just like there's no like, oh, don't do it or I'll kill someone. It's just like, I'm just coming to kill you. It's a much more clear-cut finale for them. But although that footage though of Angelo getting beaten up on the beach there again, that could be the sequel they're leading into right now. It's like, yeah, all those women at the beach just beating the crap out of him, and then they find him tied to another like scaffolding.
Oh yeah, the movie's all about female revenge.
This whole thing might have been that he just likes getting beaten up though. That's why, like, he totally could have taken out Jeff at any time, but it's like, oh no, just don't keep hitting me. Oh no.
I like the way it hurts, as Rihanna said.
And everyone's going like, why is his foot so red? What's he doing, this guy?
I think you've been stung by a bee.
And then when they rescue him at the end, he's just like, okay, I guess we can go now.
Oh God. But yeah, when Kathy Collier is dancing, we do see John again, topless. So it's another drink. I'm surprised how much drinking's happening in this.
Like, it's a terrible shot of her as well. Like, he's just, you just got your Vincent Hirsch right in the way of Jane, and she's barely visible in the light anyway. So,
well, again, I think it's hierarchy. It's like, okay, you can get a credit, but I'm going to stand in the way.
Yeah. YK Kim, though, he's like, I'm center stage, okay? And there's no way around seeing who's the main guy here, you know? But then, yeah, they do that thing that I've seen some films do quite a bit, where, like, yeah, they had a whole big thing showing you, like, here, behold the cast. Mm-hmm. And then immediately followed by, here's the credits of the cast again. Like,
it's weird. I think that must be a legal thing. I think you have to legally be obliged. I'm making this up, by the way. I don't know if it's true. I think you must be legally obliged to show them in the proper credits. Because you would not bother repeating these people.
Yeah, because I guess maybe you have to present a full cast list, so they have to appear in that as well. Whereas then the other one's kind of like behold, it's like George Takei and Shatner and all these guys, that kind of thing. But
exactly, yeah. So I think they've got to do this, and they mix it up at least. It's I'm assuming, looking at it, it's in order of appearance.
I kind of got the vibe that it was it can't be though, because like the opening scene doesn't have YK Kim or any of the Dragon Sound crew.
That's true. I'm thinking of the scene after that, because I was thinking, oh well, they don't count. It's like, no, but they must count. They'll be later on.
Yeah.
I think you can't just exclude people from your credits like that.
I was thinking the weirdest one they got this was always stuck with me is at the end of Taxi Driver, because they cuts into the credits, and then eventually you get the cast, but they presented in alphabetical order. So like
That's
Robert,
okay. At least it's a thing.
But it's just weird because it's like Robert De Niro is like 7th, and you're like, he's in every scene. Like, he is the taxi driver. And you're like,
I quite like that. It's egalitarian.
It is egalitarian. It always stuck out to me as being like, it's so weird. Like, it's and then you get the other side of it where you get like the end of Apocalypse Now, where it's like Marlon Brando, Robert Duvall, then Martin Sheen. And you're
like, hang on a minute.
You're like, I understand Brando, like, bullshitting his way and thinking like, no, I gotta be first. Well,
Brando can do what he wants, really.
But Robert Duvall, I mean, come on, Robert Duvall's in like one scene. Like, what the hell's going on?
Okay, yeah, that is nuts. I've only actually watched that movie once, and by the end, I did like it a lot. But it was another one of those that they felt like I'd been on the journey. So I think I was just zoned out by the time the credits came up. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, and 100% you do feel like, yeah, it takes you through the ringer, Apocalypse Now.
It felt like my entire Sunday had gone. Yeah, like, that's all I was doing was watching that movie.
And because it ends in such a kind of like philosophically sort of devastating note as well. It really ends on a kind of weird, morose vibe where you're like, oh man.
A bit like if this movie ended with Jim's death.
Yeah. But like, yeah, they sneak in the old like, oh, Marlon Brando, Robert Duvall. It's like, Robert Duvall's not like a superstar. Like, what the hell is this? Like, what, the guy from The Godfather? Yeah, Boo Radley. Come on, Martin Sheen is third. He's in every scene. Like, what the hell?
Duvall was going places, much like, well, people often said Joseph Diamond is the new Robert Duvall. I've heard it said, in circles. You might not be in these circles.
But yeah, we've seen this though before, and of course in our mother show where we've had to deal with many credits and stuff, and then you'll always get at the end be like, yeah, I think at the end of the Batman '89, it cuts into like all the other. I think your first credits like executive producers or whatever. or like, director of photography or something. And then eventually you'll get like, oh, the captain from Red Dwarf and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then a couple minutes later you get way down like cast Batman, Michael Keaton, that kind of thing. Whereas this one's going straight in for like, you just saw it, and now we're going into it again.
And you know what? It does make it a bit tough for us in a way because, number one, we've talked about these guys all movie. Mm-hmm. And number two, most of them haven't really done anything. So I've combed through as much as I could and tried to pick people out and tried to find something.
There's one thing, though, before you get into it, John. This cast of characters here, we go right up into there's going to be a whole range of ninjas that we'll have to talk about next week. But one thing really struck me looking at this cast of characters and going through it. I was just like, man, this is a smack in the face. Because you got credit Mark, John, Jack, Jim, Tom, Jane, and Jeff.
No surnames, even in the credits.
Jeff, of course, they misspelled his name there. So we all know it's Geo, Jeff.
We're going to make a T-shirt with Jeff written like this, crossed out, and then the G.
It's just the credits. That's the only difference. It's just this shot of the credits. But with that.
Oh, shit. Right, yeah. Hell yeah.
Then Yoshido, Uncle Song, club owner. Okay. Club owner's girlfriend.
She doesn't even have a name.
Music store owner, Professor 1, then just 2. That doesn't even say Professor 2. Deputy Sheriff, Rutland store manager, and then first ninja. The first chair of an orchestra.
He's the first among ninjas.
Now, don't you think there's someone missing from that big cast of characters there? That, like, a particular son of a bitch that took up so much of our time and was arguably, like, should be directly beneath Yoshito, at least.
Yep.
Not even in the main cast of characters. Like, what the hell? Where's Dexys? Where is he?
That blew my mind. And my other thought with the credits was maybe these are people who helped fund it.
This is the Patreon readout, basically.
Yeah, it's the Patreon. Because why is the Rutland store manager there?
Well, yeah, he could have been like, it's his equipment. Like, he loaned
exactly.
them those drums are his, and he's going to expect
These
them
are
back.
people who did him favors. So it's like, we'll put you higher up in the credits. It's your Patreon reward.
Yeah, the deputy sheriff turned a blind eye, of course, to a lot of things.
That's probably what it is. Yeah.
Club owner, he let them film in the club. And then he's like, guys, can you get my girlfriend a part in the movie as well? And gonna make sure she's up in the end credits and all that stuff. So go through all these people that all did them favors. And then they're like, sorry, Dexy, we don't have any room for you. You're going to have to go underneath, which I'm going to assume, I haven't looked at Next Minute yet, but I'm going to assume there's going to be about like 45 ninjas listed underneath before we get to this guy.
Oh, jeez. Although one of my favorites was Rutland store manager because it stuck out to me. Because, I mean, I know Rutland is a place here in England. It's like a location. But it just makes me think of Blackadder. Because one of my favorite bits in the first Blackadder, Percy says, because they're about to go to battle. I think it's the first episode. Yes, the first episode. Percy says to him, it'll be a great day tomorrow for we nobles, at the battle. And Edmund says, well, not if we lose, Percy. If we lose, I'll be chopped to pieces. My arms will end up in Essex, my torso in Norfolk, and my genitalia stuck up a tree somewhere in Rutland. And then later on, as the battle's about to start, the king, he's going to lead them all. He's like, once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more. Consign their parts most private to a Rutland tree. That's the best callback ever.
I mean, this might be his character name as Rutler Store manager. It's a little tribute to the Blackadder. He's been a big fan. You never know.
Or he's a eunuch.
That's why they wanted Brian Blessed to play Jeff for a while. But
holy shit.
He would have been a great Dexys, actually, Brian Blessed.
Oh. I mean, you're making me really sad that we never got Brian Blessed in this film. Holy shit. I think he is a man who would improve every movie. Yeah. But
he must be like 100 now or something as well, but he's still cracking.
Apparently so. Apparently he's still, he does like conventions and he's still like good.
Yeah.
Talking and stuff.
It's just very, like, he is one of those guys never got sick of the thing he's known for.
No.
He is a man who literally, if you met him in the street, he'd probably shout, Gordon's alive! alive. Like,
he'd do it for your TikTok video with him. Yeah, he wouldn't care.
yeah, he's 100%. Like, he just embraces everything as soon as he gets in. There's none of this like, no, I don't want to be known for that anymore. He's just like, no, of course, I'll do the thing. So,
It's the enthusiasm.
if you told him that Rutland callback, he'd be like, ah!
He probably would love that. Actually, his war cry after King Richard's one is, what does he say? I think he goes like, he's like, I can't remember the exact word, but he's like, blood, death, rumpy pumpy. Slit their gizzards.
Oh.
Love it. When I was going through some of these that are coming up, though, ninjas, one of the ninjas actually had an IMDb photo, which I thought was astonishing. I was like, whoa, someone's got a picture. They're proper. Okay. And that one is Robert Goodwin. And he actually has had a career as a stunt coordinator and a fight choreographer and stuff like that. He did a movie called Hellbent, which I thought was like, is that like a Hellraiser ripoff? But, you know, he also did, of course, as everyone knows, Monique's Fat Girls. Everyone's favorite movie.
I mean, I'm just from the sound of that, I'm assuming the fat is PH as well.
It is PH, but then when I looked at the plot, it's about them being fat. So it's like, oh, okay.
Well, maybe, though, the lesson at the end, though, is like, it doesn't matter if you're F fat. We're all PH fat, though.
That's it. I actually think that is what it might be about from the synopsis, to be honest. I don't think you're wrong.
But just the fact, though, that like it's got the name Monique in the title, there's no way that it's not PH fat. Like, it has to be.
Oh, and Girls has a Z.
Oh, wow. Oh, here we go. Oh, we should be getting see if we get Robert Goodwin on for Bat Minutes Beyond. Return chunks of the Joker.
Yeah, hell yeah. Fat Girls.
That's a running joke we've got going on in the new season of Batman. It won't make sense to anybody right now, but it'll be coming out soon. I
think 90% of the listeners to this are from Batman. It's fine, except for like 2 or 3 who I know aren't.
Yeah.
But most recently, he worked on Blood Prose in 2016. Right, and let me read the synopsis of Blood Prose because it's very familiar sounding. I think they might have ripped it off. So, a failed actor gives new meaning to piercing the fourth wall when he butchers his way through Shakespeare's tragedies to prove his place among the immortals of stage and screen. There's a Vincent Price movie with the same fucking plot. Theatre of Blood.
It could be, though, that it's just like, because is that one of the Poe stories, though? Because I could have just been like, oh yeah, you just make that 50 times. Like every couple of years, you do a different version of that.
But we've seen it. It's been done.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Didn't fucking Psychoville or Inside Number 9. Someone else has done it as well.
I think that was the first like Clayface story in Batman way back in the comics was basically that as well.
There you go. Fucking hell.
But you've not seen it with Robert Goodwin, you know. So.
Well, I mean, if he's doing the stunts, might be pretty good.
Was it blood prose, as in like prose that you would read, or was it blood prose, or then like they're blood professionals?
Oh, that would be cool. But no, prose prose, Prose.
It's
no Z should be a Z. Be amazing.
I would say of the names. I think I tried to look into a few myself, but so I was like, First Ninja, he must have something big. It's the First Ninja, right? They must have been like this was the ringer they got in, and the First Ninja was like, which one of them was he? Like we covered all the ninjas. Are you talking about the first ninja we saw, like way back when, or
the leader?
But then the leader was Yoshito.
He's the grand leader, though. He's the leader's leader.
He's the Grand Master. But then I would also say like. First Ninja was that when Jeff was in Yoshito's outfit? It'd be great if his name was actually like an anagram of William Urkel and Sayo Joe. Just jam them together.
I would love that. Although, as we can see, First Ninja is played by Homer Leaper.
Looked into Homer Leaper, which is a great name. And then it's one of those things, if you Google that, there's a hit for every like major website, but they're all just like Miami Connection. Like that's what they're known for. Miami Connection. Like anything else? No. That's not of a picture. It's just Miami Connection. It's like the only. It's like the people know them from that. It's like they don't know them, but they are in that. But no, my favorite name of all of them though was Jim Ditch.
Oh, what a great name!
Because it's just like, but yeah, Jim Ditch is like that's a name. That's a name you don't mess around with, right there. Like
Jim Ditch. He'll put you in a ditch if you mess with him.
It's just like it's so blue collar. I love it. It's just to be like, meet this guy. What's his name? Jim Ditch. It's like,
especially when you've got cool names, Scott Rousseau.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Mr. Fancy Pants over here. Like, oh, is he French Canadian? Oh, no doubt.
You've got Ed Wood on the right. Eddie Wood.
He sneaked back in.
Although actually the first ninja is probably my favourite because Homer Leaper, father of Dua Lipa.
I always knew she was a Nepo baby.
Nepo baby, Dua Lipa, we're on to you.
Well, that would be amazing though. If that was Eddie Wood was Ed Wood, and he's just like, I'm gonna start from the bottom and work my way back up and reclaim my reputation. Like people think I'm involved in the worst films ever made, but if I start, maybe I can build up and I'll become known as like the greatest filmmaker ever made. And then his first thing was playing a ninja in Miami Connection.
Well, he wasn't wrong then. He's in the greatest film ever made.
It's like, oh, this could be his son too, though. That's how you can tell. It's like, oh, my father was Ed D. Wood Jr. But
yeah, please call me Eddie.
Yeah, I'm Eddie Wood. Like, Ed Wood was my father. And then this is my good friend, Mr. Ditch.
Mr. Ditch. He'd be my Bezzy. Yeah. My Bezzy mate, him lad.
Do you think that he had a reputation for like skipping class and stuff back in school? Like, oh, Jim Ditch, there he is. You never get him in gym, I'll tell you that.
Oh. Old Jimmy Ditch, yeah, holy shit. He was not popular with the teachers, but all the kids secretly had it. They loved him. He was a bit of a Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, like comes into a bar and everyone's just like, you son of a ditch.
From now on, I'm saying that to you, and in about 3 years, we'll forget why. And we'll just keep doing it.
It was like your vow to call me Juice when the...
Oh, yeah, for no reason other than it's funny. Your initials aren't even OJ.
It was just, when the Cuba Gooding Jr. OJ show was airing. Me and John were both just so amused by David Schwimmer. Keep calling him Juice all the time. But just you decided you were going to call me Juice, and then it just never happened.
No, well, I mean, you can't really sustain that.
People coming around to the Kardashians' house, like Uncle Juice and all this.
If I ever have a kid, you're Uncle Juice. I promise you. I
think it was the way you say it in really dramatic scenes, though. It was like, oh, how could you do this to me, Juice? Like, you can't call him Juice in a scenario like this. Like, well, he's been accused of murdering his wife. You can't go like, Juice, is it true? It's like, no. You gotta call him OJ at least.
Nicknames like Juice, they're kept for frivolity.
Yes, yeah. And then you better bring out the formal names like OJ, whatever.
Holy shit. Sadly, though, everyone else I looked at here, nothing.
Yeah, that's. I'm kind of surprised though. Like, Robert Goodwin. I don't know if he like parlayed his way into like better roles, or the stunt coordinator and stuff after this, or if he was like the one ringer they got in.
Maybe.
So we did.
But then, wouldn't he be higher up? You'd think.
Well, that's what I would assume. Yeah, he would have been first ninja. You would guess in that scenario, but like, they did kind of subtly before, as you might recall, that like, obviously Angelo did the songs for the movie, but then the actual score was written by a guy who like did other stuff. Like there was an actual proper guy who worked on films all the time and stuff. So it could be
this isn't proper.
Yeah, but it could be though they just had like, we had a couple of money, so we'll get in an actual stunt guy and an actual who's proper Hollywood and stuff. And then to make sure he keeps his ego in check, we'll list him fourth in our group of ninjas at the end.
Yeah, you don't want him to get too big a head,
Well, another thing too as well, because as we recall that didn't Dexy, then his career ended in disgrace though, because he was like the DA or whatever, and then he got accused of a couple of different things. Maybe it could have been he was canceled already when the film was coming out, and they're like, oh no, you can't, don't put his name up there. I mean,
well. If there's one thing Batman's taught us, it's the DA is always corrupt.
Of course, yeah. I would rather have Two-Face than that guy, quite frankly.
Or he should play Two-Face.
I think he's dead now, though.
Oh, yeah, it should have.
Dead and cancelled is the double whammy.
AI now, baby. It doesn't matter when you can cast dead people in movies.
I think no. I think after my rant against AI last week, I actually would like to see what it would come out with. We said like a Batman movie starring Dexies from Miami Connection, because I think it might actually just go, what?
I am actually gonna try it later. I'm gonna try that for you and see what happens. Probably nothing. If you get no replies from me, nothing.
I think the problem is though, and maybe that's again, it could be another reason why he's on this first batch of credits. We've been calling him Dexies for so long.
It's not even his name.
I can't remember what his actual character name is, or even if he had one, they might have been like, oh yeah, he was in like every scene, but we didn't even give him a name.
Holy shit!
I was like, I can't actually like, as talked about earlier, X-Men First Class. Oliver Platt is in that. Oliver Platt, famous, like very, very famous Hollywood actor, right? You know, he's in Flatliners, he's in this, that, and the other. He's in tons and tons and tons of stuff. Very recognizable character actor. In X-Men First Class as like FBI guy, doesn't have a character name.
What?
It's crazy, because I think they just wrote it to be like, oh, he's just like a generic FBI guy that they talk to every once in a while. You don't need him for anything. And at the end credits, it really is just like, he's credited as like FBI Man 1 or something.
No, that's fucking nuts. What the hell? No, you can't do that.
Yeah, because you didn't think, like, just at the last minute, you can just call him, like, Agent Coulson or something. You're just like, yeah, it's Agent Jim Ditch, whatever you gotta call him.
Yes! Jim Ditch now has to be a character in every movie ever, going forward. It has to be a thing, okay?
I mean, like, let me discover, because I've now noticed it in things since, when we were talking about Mask of the Phantasm, we had to talk about Dick Miller. Of course, you know, the people don't know Dick Miller. He's the guy from Terminator who sells Arnie the guns, but doesn't sell him the gun.
He's going to.
He's showing him a gun, and then Arnie just kills him and takes the gun. But he's that guy who you've seen like a billion things. Mr. Futterman from Gremlins and stuff. But in his career, Dick Miller frequently played characters called Walter Paisley.
Weird.
Yeah,
okay.
His character from what do you call it? Not Bay of Blood. It's something of they did a
Theater of Blood.
It's something like that though. It's like Throne of Blood. No, Throne of Blood is the friggin' Kurosawa movie. But he did an old Roger Corman movie called Bucket of Blood.
Oh.
And yeah, his character now is called Walter Paisley. And then all the new Hollywood people, like your Francis Ford Coppola's and all those kind of guys, they loved that so much that when they hired Dick Miller to be in things, they always credited him as Walter Paisley. And so then there's always like fan conspiracies that it's like, oh, he has the same character. Like he's like quantum leaping his way throughout all these films. But Dick Miller is such a kind of like eggs and bacon, straightforward black coffee kind of guy that he was like, no, it's a different character. Like, I don't know why they keep doing it. It's annoying to me that they keep calling me Walter Paisley.
He doesn't want any part of it. Stop.
I think even his last movie, he played a guy called like Reverend Walter Paisley or something. And he's just like, okay, I mean, if you pay me, I'll play the part, but I'm not happy about it. Like,
pay me, no Paisley.
Good night, everybody. I think we're not going to beat that.
It was Groundhog Day for him. He's like, I can't escape this name.
I think that it might have been, though, because I think Bucket of Blood's the only movie he, like, starred in. So all his other stuff was just playing, like, yeah, I'm just a character actor. I just show up and I just do very simple parts and, like, yeah, I got a kind of shtick I do and stuff. I'm no great artist or anything. And, yeah, to have all these people who were really reverent of him and loved all these things he did and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, Walter Paisley. He's just like, what are you talking about? Like, that's like talking about a stool I made, you know? Like,
wait, what kind of stool are we talking about?
Either. He's just like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I made a bench like 20 years ago. People are still talking about that bench all the time. I don't get it. Like,
I suppose that's what it's like for musicians, where people just keep going on about their first album.
Yeah. Going up to like Ray Davies of the Kinks and talking about like, oh yeah, just like, yeah, I wrote that song when I was 15. I'm 75 now. What do you want from me?
I'm an old fucking man. I don't relate to that anymore. Leave me alone.
It's like, that's the greatest thing you ever did. It's like, yeah, I was 16. Jesus Christ.
Like, I understand from the fan's perspective, but I also get it from the perspective of like an artist who might have that reaction, because it's like, oh, so everything I've done since is shit, is it? Everything I did in my 30s when I'm actually an intelligent person is shit, is it?
So yeah, there's some ways like legends get crafted as well. I've actually been going through recently because I've always been a big fan of the Beach Boys, like obviously classic Surfing USA, all that stuff, and then really really love all the legend of Brian Wilson and Smile and stuff like people don't know. Brian Wilson was the sort of genius behind the Beach Boys. Tried to make this album in the early 70s called Smile that completely fell apart because he was having a nervous breakdown at the time of making it and was drastically too ambitious, and he was doing crazy crap to try to get it done and stuff like this, and it all fell apart. And then years later, like 30 odd years later, they put together like a kind of composite Smile album, etc., etc. But the legend of the Beach Boys is always like, oh yeah, so they did all this stuff, and then Brian was the visionary genius who was into all the weird stuff and all the heroes and villains and all this kind of thing. And then he had that breakdown, disappeared, and then years later before they came back and did anything interesting. And it was all down to him. They were lost without Brian Wilson.
I bet that's a bit of a fallacy.
Yeah, but listening to like the aftermath of the Smile falling apart albums, and they're great. Like it's Beach Boys. Brian Wilson's still there too. Like they're still working with him. And like he's just not as prominent, and he's not coming in going like, yeah, this song's about a fire, so we're going to literally set fire to the recording studio, like that kind of thing. The kind of stuff he was doing for Smile. Like they're doing really weird sort of early 70s like backmasking, vocals and just like getting it very out there and very hippie-ish and stuff like that. There's this a really beautiful song to do called an ode to being a tree.
Oh, cool name.
And it's just all about like the perspective of an oak tree and just talking about its life existing as a tree. It's very like Brian Wilson has nothing to do with it. It's like it's an amazing song. And there's all this other stuff about like, yeah, they went in like this really dark album called Surf's Up. And I was just like,
Surf's Up is a dark album.
Surf's Up, but you see the cover, it's like it's this very like black heavy album cover of a guy sitting with his head down on a horse, looking really bummed, as if like Surf's Up, like it's done. We're out of that.
Oh, it's up.
It's a play on words. It's kind of going like, making you think it's going to be a Beach Boys Surf's Up, dude. But it's like, no, man, Surf's Up. It's done. But yeah, but the legend now is years later. It's like, oh yeah, old Brian Wilson. They were doing great stuff without him immediately after all that as well. But it's crazy. Yeah. But it turned out then, like, Vincent Hirsch and all these guys, like, we had millions of fantastic martial arts movies straight after Miami Connection, but no one ever talks about them anymore.
No, they're the greatest ones on the earth. God damn it!
What was that one you were talking about earlier? Maybe we should check it out. It could be legitimately like the Citizen Kane of Miami Connection follow-ups.
Yeah, I reckon at least maybe a bonus episode we could talk about that. Because they don't bring any of this stuff up in the commentary. I was kind of hoping they would while they were going through the credits and that. I realised as well, by the way, I didn't bring up the commentary track from last week.
Oh yeah.
It dawned on me when I was making notes. So apologies, listeners. This is belated. I'll do last week's first because there's only like 2 bits. Last week they said that the guy asking the questions thinks that Mark is a little skeptical of Jim's dad. And that he's looking at him in a way of like sizing him up, not for a fight, but to make sure he understands, what Jim means to these people. Like, are your intentions pure, kind of thing? And YK Kim doesn't confirm or deny that's what he's doing. He just chuckles. It's like, did he understand the question?
What are your intentions with my Jim?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Jim's his daughter. Also, neither of them, YK Kim or Joseph Diamond, can recall if they have the original T-shirts or not.
Oh.
I'm just like, what for fuck? Like, the guy asks them and they're completely silent for a full, like, 5 seconds. And he has to, like, prompt them, like, to get an answer. And they're just like, I don't know. How do you not know? What the
I mean, again, though, it probably was a sore point for them for a while, Like, they...
Oh, well...
It could have been like they were going to keep the T-shirts. They were all going to get Dragon Sound tattoos and everything. And then it's just like, let's not do that. It's just going to be a reminder of the colossal failure of Miami Connection.
It very much was a sore point, though, because this week's commentary, the only thing is that YK Kim talks about how he had genuinely never watched this movie after the premiere until sitting down to watch it for this commentary track.
Oh, wow.
25 years. He'd not ever put it on again, ever.
Yeah,
whoa.
If you sunk like a million of your own cash in there, and it was just like a joke to people, yeah, I can imagine you would just be like, I've just completely buried that. Like, it's mentally compartmentalized. It's like, it's in the vault. I'm never talking about Miami Connection again.
Well, it was kind of literally buried.
Yeah. So, until what we call the Ibar Connection sorcery, and Joe Jack, imbued.
Oh, yeah, I never said when that came out, did I? It was 2014, so it's a bit late.
Well, they could have been filming before, though. They could have been filmed.
Oh, that's true.
Could have been filmed in like 2010.
Well, and plus the magic of the Iber connection, the magic of it transcends space and time.
Exactly.
So it went backwards earlier than when the wish was made to grant the wish.
No, that makes sense. And then through that, it got the funding for him to travel. So then the wish could be made.
It's like a Terminator thing. It's cyclical.
Yeah.
Like if you don't send Carl Reese back, John Connor's not born, but John Connor's the one who sends him back in order to be born.
And if you don't buy any of it, you just gotta throw out the old classic religion thing to get everything. Faith.
Faith, yes. Mysterious ways.
And just like, this seems like a pain in the ass. You gotta have faith. Like, why? 'Cause that's like, who are you to doubt that? Like, of course.
Exactly.
Faith, yeah, it's just, it's testing you or whatever.
You gotta say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and delete audio messages from Roddy Piper.
It's just still insane. But it's like, oh no, I'm running out of space on my phone.
I love the way he just thought he could throw that out and people wouldn't be like, wait, hang on, back up.
Yeah. It's like, how long ago was this? Like, Roddy Piper died like fairly recently as well. This isn't like an old ancient like brick phone or something you're getting this on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's less than 10 years, isn't it? Let's see, as of recording, 2015.
2015. So he probably, Hulk has money. Like, he probably had a good phone back then. Like, save it to the cloud, man. Like,
well, he probably had an iPhone then. So yeah. Fucking hell.
That'd be the thing then, just been like, oh no, I threw that phone out. I was like, yeah, but say it's the cloud, right? It's like,
I don't know how to do that. I'm an old man. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but I just hope now that he is born again, he just stops calling people brother and starts calling them brother in Christ all the time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh. But anyhow.
Yes, my brother in Christ. I'm noted out.
Yes, as am I.
Okay, then this extra long episode, people, because barely any of this is getting cut. Fuck it. We're in the credits. You're getting them as long as you're taking my length, basically. We will break the connection. We will let's mix shows. We'll head off into the dark night. What do I say on Hedvig? We'll get in the van to go to the next gig. I can't remember what the fuck I say. It's been ages. It's something like that. Join us on Facebook at the Miami Minutes Taekwondo Orphanage, Twitter at Miami Minutes, and presumably YK Kim's still on there, Instagram Miami Minutes, and check out our network Sleepy Charlie Media on Patreon for bonus content and TeePublic for merchandise. And we will be back in 1 week. There's still some more exciting credits. There's more to talk about. There's the song to talk about. So do join us, because that's going to be amazing. The song is it's out of this world. See you next time for more Miami Minutes. Waited long for this moment, for our dreams to be complete. More on that next week.
Listen to me.